telling you what to invest in is probably not a good idea, because one of the problems with that is that every investor is wrong a lot. Even Warren Buffett. Buffett's a little more right because he makes such few investments. And one of the biggest things about investing is how much do you invest? And what parameters will you use if that investment goes against you? Or, things like that. And a lot of people want one stock. That's been my experience talking to all of y'all for years, is people want one stock. And the problem is I could give you one stock, but that stock might be a dog. And then you're going to blame me. And it's hard to pick one stock and say, okay, I'm going to live and die by this one stock, because you're not going to buy one stock, or I'm not going to buy one stock. I'm going to buy 10 stocks or 20 stocks or 50 stocks or 100 stocks. And you might want one stock to go all in on. And the problem is it's really not going to work that way. But I've given some stock picks out on here. Some have done well, some haven't. One of my favorites is a company called 𝗕𝗂𝗢𝗢𝗓, NTLA. And it's kind of been a dog. It's been a dog for a while. And I'm okay with that. But if you went all in on it, you might not be okay with that. And then I also gave this stock called 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗄𝗧𝗏. And that was a huge home run. So I've only given those two stocks explicitly, and 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗄𝗧𝗏 was my first stock out of actually prison. So it was May of 2022. It was around $5 if I recall correctly, and this was around the time I recommended it. And it went from 4 or 5 to 12 and a half. But I've also been bullish on 𝗕𝗂𝗢𝗢𝗓 forever and ever, and it's kind of just been a dog. I maybe started being bullish on this in 2023. It's around $35, and it's around $20. And I think one day 𝗕𝗂𝗢𝗢𝗓 will be bought out, and maybe it'll go to 50 or 100 or whatever. Maybe it'll go to 25. Maybe it'll go to 10 and they get bought out for 20. Stuff's hard. If it was easy, we'd all just be printing money, right? So far, nobody's cheated death. All the lifespan increase that we've had has come very incrementally and very slowly. And there's this dream that we could have an exponential effect like we see in software, like we've seen with Moore's Law or something like that. Maybe someday it's possible, I don't know. But it's not possible right now. And I think, if anything, it's just a sign of weakness. We feel bad about death, and we feel bad about mortality, and we feel it encroaching, especially for some of these people that have made billions in Silicon Valley. They really feel it encroaching. They feel it coming, that they're going to die, and that they don't want to die because they're masters of some small universe. Therefore, they want to be masters of the real universe. And, this is sort of veering into a religious question. But I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. And I think that there's this hope that, there's something beyond this universe from a lot of these people, because they know that they can't be here forever. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, etc. You have to make your peace with reality that, you will die and you will be forgotten and you will be irrelevant. Even if you're Peter Thiel or Warren Buffett or Elon Musk, people who've made a big difference in the world, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, you will never be remembered. We don't remember people from 100 years ago unless they were extremely exceptional, like an Einstein, right? We don't remember many of the business people at all. We certainly don't remember any of the traders and speculators and hedge fund managers of 100 years ago. That's a sobering and terrible thought for some people, but like existentialism, it should be a very empowering thought. It should free you from your desire to be remembered and to be relevant and to be this and that. All of that is kind of like a trick your mind plays on you, I think. People always talk about legacy and things like that. Ray Dalio said something funny. Somebody asked him, some CNBC idiot, well, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? He's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, how do you want people to talk about you after you're dead? He's like, why would I want anyone to talk about me after I'm dead? I'll be dead. What's the point? What are you talking about? This is a stupid question. And of course, to a lot of people, it's not a stupid question. Everybody talks about legacy and things like that. Fathers want to leave a legacy for their sons, and those sons become fathers, and so forth and so forth. But Dalio's answer was hilarious, because it was yeah, man, what? I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to be able to see how they talk about me. It's such a hilarious answer to such a common question all humans are kind of interested in answering. Somebody asked, why do you manually copy the numbers? Feels weird. Well, here's the thing. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've taught many billions of dollars of assets and management how to do this. You have been doing this for 5 minutes, and you should go find another stream to watch. Okay, here's the 10K. Now, the 10K is the full annual report, and I recommend reading these first over the 10Q. And basically Warren Buffett's day-to-day is just reading 10Ks all day. And that's kind of a cool, that was his life for a long time. If I had all the time in the world, I'd just print this out, 200 pages, sit there and read it. And there's all kinds of other goodies in there if you look. There's some secret sauce. There's some hedge fund stuff. There's some website stuff. There's definitely some little prizes there for you if you look hard enough. I've been doing some quantum computing data structures. Those are really interesting. 𝗏𝗏, you have all these interesting operations. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff doesn't matter. I mean, if you're writing React, like literally like the core library, it matters. And you know, look, I mean, a lot of the advantage in technology is just quick product iteration, not so much. 𝗏𝗏, I don't know who you are, but you know, you don't come into my chat room testing me. I was one of the first React users. I hired Facebook React dudes. You know, when they changed the DOM, they asked me first. They asked me first, right? Get element ID, get element by ID. I made that. I made that. They asked me. Brendan Ike, that's my homie. Kanye West, that's my homie. WebRTC, one of the first users. Kubernetes, one of the first users. Docker, we made Docker before Docker. They copied us. You're turning me back to the old Shkreli, man. People who are so desperate to make that legacy are megalomaniacs that are more dangerous for the world than they are beneficial. I think there's like that like really a great thing with by sort of being willing to live and have a like I don't know how to put it, but like a dignified death, I guess. To me, like it's an insult to reality and to, I don't know, like to the rest of the world by you know, trying to leave a legacy and trying to leave like some permanence for you and yourself. To me, it conjures something like Hitler. Like Hitler probably left one of the biggest legacies ever. Not a good one, obviously, but like that's the kind of people that will leave legacies. The civilization is built by millions of people, billions of people that all together add little things. One of the things that I like to say to financial guys who start to get too big for their britches, you know, because, you know, they start beating their chest about how much money they made. I like to say like, well, I think that you, the people that really kind of like 1,000 years ago and that we still remember are definitely not the money people. Not even the industrialists, like people like Cicero, Aristotle. Those are the only people we talk about from 2,000 years ago. Jesus, right? Like, can you imagine who was like the best trader from 2,000 years ago still talking about? Like, they're the thinkers, the inventors, they're usually not people that did well financially. They're artists like Shakespeare. They're people like that. So like, to me, I think that's the big fear. Like, I'd much rather have a named equation or theorem, like Shkreli's theorem or something like that, much more than having $1 billion or something like that, you know, or $100 billion. I would take the theorem any day. Well, what does any theorem do for you? It's more important to the world. I mean, that's for sure. It would improve the world much bigger to have a new, I don't know, like proof of something or something else. I don't know.
But won't 100 billion have a bigger impact?
Probably not. Because like I said about Mark Cuban earlier, like you can donate all the drugs you want, but it'll be eaten up within like 3 months. So like, you know, we tend to we think of Bill Gates' donations as having this big impact, but they don't. I mean, like the world has plenty of resources and plenty of money. So $1 billion is 400 trillion of net worth. Even on my own system, there's a learning curve. It's good when software is complicated because it means that you're going to have more productivity. Yahoo Finance sucks because there's only one thing you can do, which is like click, click, click. On Godel, like there's hundreds of like keystrokes, and like you can make a mistake on your keystrokes and close a window you didn't want to close, which is what just happened to me. But you have to like train on the software. The same thing applies to Bloomberg, which is why professionals love Bloomberg, because it's like, you know, I can really like look at 20 stocks really quickly on Bloomberg. I think it's important to pick a sector and to specialize. I actually don't think it's important what sector it is. I think any sector is good. You just got to stick to one sector. Pick that one sector and dominate, and you'll be rich. If you try to do every sector, maybe two. But if you're going to sit here and tell me you're an oil gas expert, then sit here and tell me you're a bank expert, then sit here and tell, come on, man. Pick one thing. And it's especially good for your career because it'll impress people. When people say, what do? And you just say, oh, I look at stocks. It's like,
Is that going to get you a career? Maybe, but probably not. But if you say, no, I know these kinds of stocks better than anyone. So yeah, well, tell me how does Intel's newest technology work? And you're like, extreme ultraviolet photolithography works, blah, 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 and you just go on this, rambling rampage of detail. And you really sound super impressive. People are like, this guy knows semiconductors. And at least you have something to talk about. This is a talking point that you can get involved in. And that's how I got involved in biopharma. I don't think you should go too specialized, but there are some sectors that are really big, like biopharma, where you can kind of like say, okay, I'm just, like healthcare has biopharma, services, hospital, so just biopharma. And then in just biopharma, maybe, look, I don't do generic drugs. I don't study generic drugs or big pharma. I don't know if you can study biopharma without studying big pharma, but just like I just look at cancer, that's probably a little too narrow, but I guess you could try it. But it'd be weird if somebody's like, well, what do you think of this biotech stock? And you're like, I don't know. I only look at cancer. It's sort of like, okay, I want you to look at all the biotech stocks for me. We all make mistakes. And trading is extremely hard because you got to get the direction right, and you got to get the timing right, and you got to get the size right. Any one of those three things is wrong. You can get the perfect trade, but if you don't put enough money in it, okay, so what? You made $1,000 or something like that. It's immaterial. So you got to get the size right too. If you get the size right and the timing right, but the direction wrong, that's a huge disaster. If you get the size right and the direction right, but the timing wrong, you could be sitting in the trade for it turns into an investment. You don't want that either. So, there's a reason most traders are bald or have gray hair or stomach ulcers or bad marriages or bad tempers. Jim Cramer had a very bad temper. Still love the guy. Brokers, I can't really recommend you any specific broker. I guess I like Interactive Brokers. Interactive Brokers pretty good. I think they're all the same, though, to be honest. But Interactive is really good because they let you do a lot of international and stuff like that. IBKR is Interactive. What happens if Interactive Brokers fails? Well, it's sometimes good to have two brokerage accounts if that's a worry for you. And I would encourage you to look at the balance sheet of Interactive Brokers to make sure they don't fail. If it looks riskier than a normal bank, take your money elsewhere. You have cash coming in from other things. So you're sort of happy the cash is going to work at some point, better than treasuries or better than your checking account. And so let's say your business makes, I don't know, $100 million a year in cash. You have a video game company or a software company or an oil company or a Quickie Mart chain or something like that. And it makes $100 million. It could make $1 million, $10 million, whatever, a laundromat chain. And you basically say, what, I can use this money if I wanted to. I could buy real estate. I could buy all the houses in this neighborhood. And you might get some return. You might get 5% or 10%, something like that. If you can find a stock that's going to make you 20 or 30%, you're much better off buying the stock. If you can find any kind of investment that's going to go up, then your business is going to start compounding because you're still going to make the same cash flow from your business next year, but your investments will also go up. And eventually, I've known people, one guy in the nursing home world, who's made more money from his investments than he's made from the nursing homes. There's no good percentage to take profits at. I mean, it all depends on a lot of different things. I do think donations on YouTube or Twitch are taxable. I made a lot of money in the stock market. I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars. Trading indices is, I don't know, it's hard. It's pretty well arbitraged. What inspired me to start Godel? Well, basically financial information, there's two types of financial information software. There's, for everyone, Yahoo Finance, Google Finance, etc. And there's the pro tier. There's really nothing in between, to be honest. The pro tier is Bloomberg or Refinitiv. And there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't take the pro tier and give it to everyone. It's just been like this weird thing where it's like, I want as much price as possible. I didn't go to the penitentiary, by the way. Yeah, DL will probably make some acquisitions. We made a few offers. But so down here, the functionality is low. I guess we'd call this function. The functionality is low. And up here, this is Bloomberg, this is Refinitiv, stuff like that. And you basically can draw like a linear relationship. This is Yahoo Finance, etc.
everyone who's tried to be like here, the problem is they think they're here, and in reality, they're sort of like here. They're less useful than they think. And the goal is to kind of do it like this, where you're here. And the problem is, and this is like where we kind of aspire to be, more or less same functionality as Bloomberg, but you know, much lower price. Do I have this backwards? I think I have this backwards. So yeah, much lower price, but you know, close to the same function. TradingView is kind of like TradingView is as if you took this chart, this thing, and it's up here, obviously. Well, it's actually kind of up here. It's very good function and very reasonable price. But the problem is it does one thing. It's just really just charting. And I know they try to do other things, but the thing it's S tier at or really good at is charting. Like Bloomberg is more, yeah, I would argue is even better on charting, arguably. Some people would say not. And then like price is obviously astronomical. So like how do you get to, and you can't satisfy everyone. And then there's new things we could do that haven't been done before. So there's a lot to talk about. But like basically like I love programming and sometimes I feel like I can create some cool tools. Like again, the simplest thing is like if there's one stock on my quote monitor that's really important, like 𝗕𝗂𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢 that I'm long like 1 million shares of, like I'm looking at these stocks, I don't care as much, but there's like one stock I really care about. I just want to have it on my screen like this. What's the problem? You know, time and sales is something like a lot of these platforms don't have, like Yahoo Finance doesn't have time and sales. So if I want to look at a specific stock and say, okay, what trade happened at what time exactly, you know, I can do that here. And in fact, I even have the millisecond of the trade time, which as far as I know, not a single platform in the world offers. And we try to like show you that like we really know what we're doing. That's why like if you look at the milliseconds latency, you can see it updates like 4 or 5 times a second for a widely traded stock like Apple. It's like going ham. Because that's what is really happening. But if you do the Google price, or just Google Apple stock, it actually doesn't change. And the price isn't always changing. The price is changing faster than this, obviously. The price is changing every second or less. But the trades are happening many, many times a second.
Paid pumper is a joke. On the Wall Street, not Wall Street Bets, but way before Wall Street Bets, the Yahoo message board culture used to tell people that they're paid pumpers or paid dumpers and or paid bashers. Some hedge fund is paying some guy to sit there and like talk on Yahoo message boards. Or like imagine a room of these people. I think they're going to go to jail. I think they're going to miss earnings, you know. And then paid pumpers are like, this stock's going to the moon. I love it. And they're working for somebody who's going to dump the stock. Pumpers and bashers, you're one or the other. Martine Rothblatt, the one big trans CEO, there aren't too many. She's done amazing now. I gotta give it to her. I was a doubter, I was a hater, I was a skeptic. I was right about some things, she was wrong on some things. But in general, Martine used to be Martin. I don't really care about that. I don't talk to Brent, no. A lot of people don't talk to Brent. I thought Brent was my friend, but the second I became unpopular, meow, it's cool. I don't need friends. I just get money. You need a friend, get a dog. I'm that guy, all right? I don't need friends because I could just sit, go on PubMed, or go on SEC.gov, sit in a room for 8 hours, just me and my cat, and I got $1 billion idea. That's what I do. Not many people can do that. Palmer Luckey can do that. Elon Musk can do that. Sam Altman can do that. Who else? Who else?